All right, so today is December 1st already. Wow. Okay, so we're getting close to the end here, class. So you said, Eduardo, that I mean, sorry, Manuel, you submitted your animation for the Lumion, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good, perfect. Give me a second to see. Let's see. All right, let me share my screen here. To the side. So Lumion, the animation, right? Okay, let's see. All right, good. Nice quality. What size did you use for the final rendering?
HD.
How long did it take you?
3 hours.
That's not too bad. Yeah.
I try to use like different times during the day.
Yeah. Okay.
So I start from the morning to the day, afternoon, and then night.
Perfect. Yeah, it looks like more evening, right? Every time it gets a little bit darker.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice job. Yeah, I like each of the clips stops right before the glass. Then we get the shadows. Cool. Now you have the event lights on. Looks amazing. I'm glad you tried the whole thing from morning to evening to nighttime, right? And all the different effects.
Thank you.
One thing you can probably correct, is the thing you see how you have these things here, like little high points in the landscape, right?
Yeah.
And once you've done with all the extruding of the landscape, to go back to one that says smoothing, so you can smooth out all those sharp angles, right? Make it a nice, and that's probably just the final touch for your landscape.
Okay.
So that's a nice. So you take away all those hard lines.
Okay.
Besides that, looks amazing. Thank you. All right. Did you guys get a chance to work on Twinmotion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Any problems, questions you guys might have?
I had a question, Professor.
Sure.
If anything, what does the R key do on the keyboard? Just because every time I would miss the E to lower down the view and accidentally press the R, it would crash my Twinmotion.
Really?
Yeah.
R doesn't do anything. Yes, R's key is new key. It's a new thing. Yes, you see here right now. Can you guys see my screen, right?
Yeah.
All right. So right now, this is just the typical view, and this is rendering to the rendering with the real-time rendering engine, right? That means that in real time we see lighting, shadows, materials, right? If I press R, give it a second, then you switch to ray tracing engine, and that's an ray tracing engine is much better than the other one, but it's extremely time consuming. It will use up all your computer power, right? All your graphics cards. And see, when I try to go closer here, it's trying to again ray trace. You see how you have little dots that are getting more refined, right?
Yeah.
So whenever I move my mouse and try to change the view, it starts again from the beginning, trying to calculate all the different ray tracing. And ray tracing can be compared to V-Ray, right? So if you hit R, your computer's not very fast, then it would most definitely crash. And if you hit R again, it should go back to just the typical, kind of Lumion quality of renderings.
There wouldn't be a way to deactivate that, I'm assuming.
Not that I know of. I've never tried. Maybe there's a way to let's see. Unless you can set like custom keys.
Yeah.
I don't think let's see, shortcuts. Why is it in English? Let's see here. Okay, if I put that takes me moves, edits. The good thing is you can also use a game controller, right, to move around Twinmotion, right? If you have like an Xbox controller, you could hook it up and use that instead of the keyboard. All right, here, so the R key is actually not defined here. We know that move up, move down. I think the R key, you know, it applies to ray tracing,
Mhm.
but I don't see it on any of their links here. And I never know. Sometimes you can do a custom, you know, set up your own keys, right? But I haven't seen this here at all, you know. Edit, let's see, resource collector, missing files, port references, appearance, no, quality, custom. No, that's just the quality of that. Graphics, path tracer, probes. I think there's no way to do custom keys for the keyboard. You might try to remove your R key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. And again, this feature only happens in the latest Twinmotion, the 2022.1 preview one. All right. Okay. Any other problems, guys? Questions? No. So let's cover today. You know, we have little time, before the semester ends. So I'm actually, unfortunately, I won't be here next week for you guys. I need to be overseas for a project. So, but I'll be back. So I want to cover kind of a lot today for you guys to work on those things. So that when I see you guys again, you guys can present already some renderings and stuff that I can review before you guys, create the final ones. So in the video today, make sure you ask me a lot of questions, right? I'll make sure I cover everything possible that I can think of here to try to make, the whole model here, the experience be as realistic as possible as we refine, all the details here, right? We did spend a lot of time last week, in the landscaping, and that looks to me pretty good. We talk about trees, mass placement of trees, painting trees, landscaping, kind of painting the edges here to create a more realistic effect. Through here, although right now it looks pretty bad, we know that as we get closer here, the detail emerges because it's trying to save on the graphics card, right? So we put a lot of detail here, trying to try different layers of vegetation, right? So we have low grass, high grass, and different types of trees, which create a nice mix of shadows, right? And these shadows are important to create it, more realistic experience, right? And you guys, of course, can try, like I did, you can try something else, not a big deal. Then we didn't do much in the house, right? The house was left pretty much empty for today. I think if I go back out more, let me go out here. Again, I put a lot of detail around the house. Everything past here is pretty much empty, right? Because, the more you add, the more time it's going to take. And I even took some time last week, and we have this bridge here. So I even took some time to paint here some paths. So you can, maybe we'll do a video later, or we can have somebody walking here and looking like, there's a way to get to this house, right? It's not just in, the middle of nowhere. So I think that could be a nice detail there. Also, one thing that we haven't discussed is what happens if you decide to change part of the house, right? Like, how do you update the model, right? If you decide to change something, maybe add a wall, remove something, and what do you do with your existing, project, right? Also, when you do sometimes FBX, there's mistakes that you guys see that might appear here. So the first mistake here is, you see here, there's some flickering happening here, right? Why do you think that's happening?
It's two layers overlapping each other.
Exactly, yes, we have two layers overlapping. So it can decide which one to show, the blue one or the yellow one, right? So this just means we have to correct that layer. And then if I saw here last week, something happened here also. Here, right? There's this little missing triangle of the floor here. So somehow when we did file export to FBX, that model, that part became corrupt. Like underneath, it looks fine. It's all solid, but on top, that geometry broke. So that we need to fix. And we'll see if we can fix it through materials, or we can fix it through an actual exporting of the model again. So all the things that we discussed last week, any of those topics confusing or you guys need more advice? You guys
I had
are
a
good?
question.
Sure.
Yeah, I had a question. When
Okay.
it comes to painting, are we only allowed to paint what the 4 things are?
You mean for that painting landscape?
Yeah.
Let me go here. So let's go here to this area here. All right.
Or can we choose a 5th one if possible?
Okay, I got it. Let me go to a part where we can paint. All right, let's see here. All right, let's go to paint. So let's go over here. I'm gonna click the landscape. We have here paint terrain. So yeah, all we have is these 4 categories here. We can add a 5th one here. All you can do is go in each category and switch. So in this case, this layer here is the grass, which is the first one here, right? We could change that layer to, you know, we can pick from here different grass, and that would change everything at the same time. You know, this one looks more like, but we can add a 5th category here to that.
But
Yeah.
in the case that you wanted to use the first grass and then use this grass elsewhere, we wouldn't be able to do that, right? Because it would change the whole grass.
It would change the whole grass. Yes, exactly. Yes.
Okay.
So you gotta kind of plan with those things there. Yes, you could put this grass in this one here in grassy ground, right? And then switch to this one here. So you can put them, I guess, out of water. Like I could put, you know, the one here. I could put gravel here, but now everything here is gravel, right?
Yeah.
And I can go back to grass here. I mean, if you want to paint a little more here, I could switch to like sand here, right? And then I can reduce the diameter of this thing here. Let's see here. And I could paint a little bit here, the sand here, so that could give you more control.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, it still gives you plenty of control. You know, just a matter of, you know, using them, playing with the diameter, so you can paint exactly what things you want to see, right? And anything too far back, you can just pretty much ignore.
Yeah.
But this is always important, you know, things like this. You know, again, whatever I painted here, I did it really fast last time. Just as an example, you know, there are things that you can probably paint a little better. You can see that this part here looks really bad, you know, not so much, you know, the material here, but you see how it's very pointy, right? All these things, right? So anytime you see something very pointy, it looks very unnatural for landscape, right? So, you know, and if you were to try to fix this, you would just go to sculpt terrain, use the erode, flatten, noise, smooth. So use the smooth technique and just a little bit through here, right? And we get a nice, you know, much nicer, smoother terrain right here. And then here we have a bunch of triangles that are pretty sharp. You know, try to make it as small as possible, your radius here. And if it's very hard to use this kind of up and down button here, you can always just click here, right? And we can just put it, say 3, right? And we can just do a little spot healing here. Oh, I guess we need more. Yeah. There we go. All right. And now we corrected, you know, the little smoothing angle. So this tree is in the water, which is, it's not bad. It's just because we painted it on. We can always go back and erase it, but yeah. All right, good. So that's definitely an important question here, because to try to merge the different layers together, right? Anything else you guys are confused about? All right, anyone else just came to class?
I have a question, Professor.
Yeah, go ahead.
You see how we paint the trees?
Yes.
And there's already set like a certain amount of species. Is there any way to like go and change the species after or no?
Well, that's a good question. I've never tried that. Don't think so, because once you paint the trees, right? Let me zoom out here and back up, so we see kind of everything. Like, let me change my speed here. So we have a good area here, the trees. For the trees, once you apply the trees, you know, if you want to select them, you do have to go to the layers, right? And we have here on the right side, if you keep going down, we have here painted vegetation 1, If I do 1, 2, those are the little ones, right? That things like grass. We have painted vegetation 3. Okay, that's also, there we go. So painted 4 here. Again, if it gets very difficult here, you can always just click here and do rename, right? We can call this, let's call it here, all trees, right? All right, so if I click here on all trees, you see that this over here will again show up right here, right? And we have here American something tree, Eastern white pine, nickel fir, and something. I've never tried to add more species, but I don't know. Let's see. If I can see this here, can I add? And let's see. Let's find something. Let's say like a ginkgo tree here. I'm going to take this one here, drop it here. You can. Yes. It just added a new tree species to my list here. So I just learned something. So yeah, great question, because something that I never actually tried to do is add trees after the fact that I already painted them on in my scene here. And we can check again. Let me find a tree that's colorful. So maybe it has some more, it sticks out more. Let's see, we have that. This one here, the flame red thing here. Let's put this one here. There it is. Let's see if we see it somewhere here. There it is, right? Added throughout the scene in small areas. So great question, right? I'm glad that it actually works. And then we can just close this here. Nice, yeah. I mean, I'm always learning something from these software. I mean, there's so much you can do here that, you know, it's very hard to know exactly everything you can do, right? And you kind of learn by, you know, through experience, right? The more you do it, the more you, you know, you start to figure out new things every class. All right, anything else? No? All right, let's try, before we go here and try to apply things here, I want to first do a check in this thing here. Right? If you ever get like this here, where you have the a piece of the geometry kind of missing here, I'm going to switch back to bicycle speed. Let's see here. Where's the floor? Here. So first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to apply material. Sometimes when you apply material, this gets automatically fixed. So let's see if that works. Let's go here to materials. This is a floor, so let's do wood floor. You know, let's say something like this. Drag it and drop it. Yeah, so definitely that didn't fix that. Let's see what else we can do here. So let's look at the settings. Sometimes, okay, we apply the material. We have the color, reflection, scale, weather on. Let me look at the settings here. We have here, this one here, two-sided material on or off. So this helps sometimes. Let me turn this on. No, it didn't help. Sometimes this will force the material to have two sides, and it works sometimes, and sometimes, of course, like this didn't do, you know, any difference. So in that case, nothing we can do. We have to fix this panel over here, right? So that panel has to be fixed. At the same time, I see here that this thing is flickering. That means if I do an animation, it's going to flicker because the material are both overlapping the exact same plane, right? So I can decide what to do, right? So the best thing here to do is to find this piece over here and delete it, right? Or just delete everything that goes past here, because this thing really shouldn't be going so far down. But I think the easiest way is to simply delete this here. And at the same time, you know, let's pretend that we're going to add something to this model here. Maybe we forgot something here. So what else can we add here to make it more, you know, interesting? So let's see. So the first thing you must do here is you can't modify the FBX file, right? Because, you know, it's a file that's going to be used here. You have to actually go back to the 3D Max file. So in this case, it will be this one here, which is the original file, right? That we used to export to FBX, right? So let's do the first thing here. This thing's pretty easy, right? We can see the same problem here. So I'm going to select this and also the blue plane and do right click and isolate. We can do group and ungroup it. Again, group it, ungroup it again. And in case you see, I pick this thing here, it's all together. When I go to group and ungroup, you can't. That means it was, you know, it was combined as one object. So when that happens, simply just select it, right? go here to the top right to the properties, right? And we have here a selection. So I'm going to pick the one that says polygon, and I should be able to select, different elements here. Or let's try the last one here called element. That should pick the entire object. So we can pick different ones here. I'm going to pick the one here and just press delete, right? That's all. And then we can exit out again. And now that it's, corrected, that first piece here. I can now again select everything, unselect this blue thing by clicking Alt, and we can go again group. The first step is okay. Any questions?
No question.
No, okay. The next step here is that piece over here. So first of all, let me hide the glass because I can't see inside the building here. And yeah, we can see that there's definitely a problem with that piece. So let me select it, right click it, and isolate. So these are, it appears to be the floor slabs of this here. Wow. So that I didn't see before, appears to be really messed up. Okay, so let's, right now, this is the top of the floors, right? So if I apply wood, it's going to apply wood to every single floor here. If you wanted to have, variety, you could have to, divide them. But for now, let's see how we can fix this piece over here. So I'm going to select it. Is it grouped? No. So that means I'll select here polygon. Okay, we're picking those. Let me select first. Let's try vertex. Now let's do polygon again. I want to select this whole piece, right? And then I'm going to copy it off to the side here for a second. I'm going to copy it here and do, yes. Then while it's being copied here, I'm going to go here to the right side and go detach and do okay. So this way it's separate, so right now it's its own thing here, right? Compared to the one there. So this thing here, it's simply a flat plane here, right? It has no bottom. So the best way to do this would be to draw a new polyline, right? So we can go here to line tool, right? We're going to turn that snaps on, right? So the 3 with the little wheel is my snap. And then let's try to trace the border again. At least the main points are still there, so we can trace the outline easily. And this happens once in a while with FBX files where it gets corrupted. And that should be it. Yes. All right, so now we can delete the first piece, right? And we have this, right? And probably the easiest thing to do here is to select it, right? And first of all, I'm going to extrude it, right? So if you guys remember, you go here to the modify panel, right? You go to the top right where it says modifier list, and we'll just apply and extrude right here. Is this part clear, or do you guys forget this part from the previous class? Anyone seen this for the first time?
No, it's pretty clear.
Okay, good. So I put extrude here, right? It doesn't really matter. I typically do a little piece. You could leave it as 0 here, and 0 will give you this, but sometimes it gives you an error. So I prefer to just extrude, right? Whatever amount you have like this, select it, right click it, and we do here convert to editable mesh, it means to explode it, right? Convert to editable mesh, right? Then I go here in the polygon, I pick the top, and I go detach, right? Now I can pick the bottom and delete. And all I have is this very nice looking plane, right? And I'm going to call this plane new plane, right? Just so it has a name. Next, I'm going to move it into place, right? So I'm going to use my snap tool, pick this corner, and snap it to here, right? Where this part here, there it is. Next, I can switch my viewport here, right? Turn off your snaps, select this one again, go to properties. I'll pick the polygon, select the one here, right? and delete. So now we have left this new piece here, right? And this, again, everything here is based like before on a color, right? Right now, this plane here, I'm not sure what it is, but I can use the eyedrop tool here. I can click here and it's the floors, you know, it's called floor. So what I could do here, I could apply the same thing just to make it simple, right? I could apply something else, but for now I'm gonna select it and apply the same thing, floor, right? Next, I can select everything again and I can go. So two ways you can do it here, right? So right now, these things are one object, right? And this is a new object. You could select everything and go group, right? To combine them, or you can select the old object here, right? Go to properties, and instead of doing detach, you can do attach right here. And I'm going to attach this new plane. So now that new plane is part of the old object. So everything's now back together again. All right, so now we can go here again. We can do and isolate, and we go back to here. So we fix the problem here. We fix the floor problem. But now let's imagine that maybe we decide to change something, right? And I want to do something here because I know that there's a few things we can try in Twinmotion that we can't do really in Lumion, right? So let's try, first of all, there's a very nice waterfall feature in Twinmotion that we can use where it actually creates a waterfall dropping here. So I actually want to create something here that looks like a waterfall of water maybe dropping down. So let's just do something here very simple. Let's okay, let's go to box, right? Let's I'm going to click here, take my snaps. I can keep it the same shape as before, and you know, any height here doesn't matter. I'm going to move this box down like this. Oops. So like that, right? You guys can see it. And I'm going to raise it up a bit here. Yeah, so I think it's fine. So, and then I'm going to subtract this piece, right, from the box. So if I click on this piece, is it grouped together? Yeah, so let me ungroup it. I'm going to click this piece. I'll go to compound objects, pro boolean, and we'll do a subtract, start picking, and I'm going to pick this. So essentially, I just subtracted that piece from there, right? All right, but before I do that, to make it easier, I'm going to do Control C, right, for a second. And I'm going to copy this box up here for a second, make a duplicate. Again, select this again, go to pro boolean, subtract, start picking, and here, right? Because now we have a huge cavity here with a big hole. So the idea is now we can use this here. I'm going to move this down, copy it again as a copy, change the height. You know, maybe we'll make the height, doesn't really matter. Let's make it 6 for now, 6 inches, right? Now I'm going to use my snaps again, turn on my snaps, move this piece. So it snaps right there. This is going to be the bottom of my pool, right? So maybe we'll make it, you know, 1 inch. Let's make it 2 inches. And we're going to call this, this will be the bottom of the pool, right? And the next thing that we have here is I need the water of the pool. So actually this part I can actually delete. What I can do here is I can take this piece, right? And I can copy it again on top, right? That's going to be the water level. So the main thing now is we have to make the correct material. So let's go to material here. And again, this is pretty full, but it doesn't really matter. We can replace other ones here. This one is, okay, so I'm going to drag this one here. I'm going to call this pool material, the pool bottom. Forget this different one. Pool stone. Then I'll make it stone, right? And let's give it a color. I'm gonna pick the bottom one. All right, so now that one's red, right? You can see here, right? The top one, let's go. Should be the same water as here, so I can use the same material. So I can just go here, use the eyedrop tool, click in here, and that's called pool water. So I'm going to assign the same material, select it again, this one, and assign. So now we have, so idea, we can imagine the water's here is going to have a waterfall that comes down here to the second pool, right? This being like, this is being like an actual pool, and this is more like a shallow pool, right? Like a reflecting pool. So we changed something already in the scene here. Let's change something now. It's just very simple. Let's make almost like a trellis here. All right, so let's do something very simple. Let's just, I'm making a simple box. Let's go here. Again, you guys can do this, you know, very simple here. Let's say I'm gonna make this be, length is 16 feet, width would be, let's say 2 inches, height would be 1 foot. There we go. Then I'm gonna raise it up here. Strong piece. If you guys, can you guys see down here in the Z-axis, right? We can see, we can kind of guess the height of this from there. So when I raise this, I'm checking here down here where it says Z-axis to see my height here. So right now I'm going, you know, 3 feet, 4 feet, 6 feet. I'm gonna put roughly about 8 feet above the ground, like a trellis. Next, right, I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna copy it about that size. Instance, let's make 15 copies. We made this, right, like this. We need one more object here, which we could do. Right, let's see. Let me take these things. Again, I'm not building here things that are very precise, just trying to do it fairly quickly. Isolate it. All right, and next thing we need here, we need something to provide structure because this trellis can just be floating in space. So we need another structure that goes in this direction. You guys can see it here. And we can make this piece be, let's see, 3 inches there. The height could be also 1 foot. And yeah, we can make it 20 feet. There we go. And we see the piece over here, right? Next, I'm going to copy it again here, right? About that. And just select both of those pieces. And of course, these pieces are going to support the upper members here, right? And you can imagine that maybe there's a little notch here where they get, you know. So right now, what's missing here now? What's the next piece that we need?
Columns.
The columns, right? So I'm going to make something here simple. We'll make this be, you know, let's make it 5 inches by 5 inches. Nope, wrong one. That's pretty good, yeah. And I'm going to put him, obviously, intersect this part here, right? And then these columns, I am going to copy as instance. This way, it saves me the work of trying to modify all of them at the same time. Again, copy as instance. That's pretty good. All right, so next thing here is let's select these 4 columns at the same time. Let's do n isolate. Right, and we're gonna move this down here. Make sure this is touching something, right, like this. I want to make sure that it's actually touching the water because, so we might go a little further down here, there. So this was actually embedded in the water. And now because they were all copied as instance, we can pick any of them and we can go here to properties and just change the height to be, you know, higher here and make sure they're, you know, they're actually touching the other structure here. So there we have a simple trellis, right? That's kind of part of it in the water. The next thing here is we need materials for this trellis, right? We could apply the same wood for everything, or we could decide that you want the top wood to be one material, the bottom other one. So, it's up to really to you guys. But let me just copy this here. We'll call this trellis. At this point, I would probably group some of these things together. There we go. And the rest also. And, sometimes, it's good to have more layers than one, because if I go and I apply the same material to this whole piece, right, it might give me a problem, because you might want the grain of the wood to be looking in this direction, right? And the one for here to be going in this direction, right? So if you make it with the same material, when you apply this grain, it might look good on this side, but when it gets applied to this one here, it's going to be facing the wrong direction. And then again with the column. So technically, the best way to do is to apply a different material for this piece, and the columns, right? That will give you the best possible. So I can go to trellis. I'm going to make a trellis 1, right? And this, I will apply it as a, let's say, like this green, for example, and apply it to that one there. Then I'm going to copy back over here, right? Replace the other one there, and then make a trellis 2. Change the color again, maybe something else, and apply for these 2 elements, right? Which I can group again. And then I could copy this one again over here and call it trellis 3, right? And that could be applied to these, because you might want the columns to be a different material in the end. So again, it might seem like more work, but it's more, you can do more stuff, and it will look better than trying to apply the same material for different objects, because especially if it has a very strong grain like wood, the grain might not look correct, if it's all applied to the same geometry. So this will give you the best choice here. All right, so there's our little trellis, our water, and that looks pretty good for now, right? So let's now unhide all, right? I can do file.
Professor?
Yes.
I have a quick question about what you were talking about with the grain. For some reason, my second, the second floor on mine, you see where the original pool was, it's giving like the opposite, like it makes the material more stretched out. The one on the bottom of that one.
The one here?
Yeah,
Oh.
those two for some reason like appear
Right.
more stretched out than the top ones.
Really? Okay. Let me do a save as for 1 second here, and then can you share your screen afterwards?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a second to save this the right place. Okay, so let me unshare for a second, and you go ahead and share.
It says disabled, bro.
I'm sorry. Let me try that. All right, try again.
So it'll be here. Like you see this one, like
Yes.
whenever I try to add in some material, it just like comes in like more stretched out or like facing
okay.
the wrong way.
Okay. Yes. So that's something that yeah, it happens sometimes. What that means is that the best way is to remake the piece that looks bad. In this case, this piece that looks stretched out, and oversized, we have to remake it again, and probably by its own material. So yeah.
Okay.
So I think if I get to that point, I think I have the same problem in my model. Then we can look at how to fix it, right? And I'm sure that we'll have the same problem in a second with this.
All right. Thank you, Professor.
All right, you're welcome. All right, let's keep going here. So I think that's pretty good for now. Yeah, that's all. We have made a few things. We changed the one here. We fixed that part. We fixed the floor, and we added a few new things to the model. So again, this model is 3D Max in format, so we can't use it there. So the best way to, I'm gonna save it here, but the best way to re-import things in Twinmotion is, first of all, let's see. Let me go back to Twinmotion here. You see here, okay, so if I go here, right, and I go to the first tab here where I import my models here, You see I have here before my pavilion space, and I have here the cliff house, which is the one here. If you click here, there's a little refresh button here, right? So the main thing is you have to save the model under the same name as the previous one, right? So what I would do here is simply select this again, everything, right? Without making any change. Go File, Export, select it, right? It'll be FBX, and save it in the same folder under the same name as your previous one, right? So let's go here to fall 2021. So I call this one Twin Motion Cliff House, right? So I don't want to make it, 2 or 3. I just want to make it the exact same name. I want to override that file. So click it here. And yes, I want to override it. Okay. Okay, you're done here, right? Next here, when you go back to Twin Motion, go to the correct file here, which is the Cliff House, and simply just press here the refresh button. Give it a second, and there we have it, right? We have now the neutralis work here. We have the this part already fixed, right? The flickering part, and we have the floor already fixed over here. There's no more holes in the floor. If you have already things applied here, like materials, it won't change those things, right? And we have that problem like we just discussed here. You see how this part here, even though the same material, looks different than the one here, right? This is overly stretched, right? So let's see why that's happening here, right? So let's say if I apply, let's try something like you had like a stone, right? I think. Which one did you apply before? Which material to this? What's it?
Yeah, it would be in the, I think, I don't remember if it was stones, but it was like a curved stone.
Okay, and stones, stack stones, stones.
Oh no, I think it's in ground.
Ground, okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, ground, and we have man-made ground. Okay, perfect. All right, let me try the same one you have, which is something like that, right? Like a cobblestone, right?
Yeah.
But you had this one here, waves, right? I'm gonna apply it here. Okay. If I go here to the scale modifier, so we this one looks pretty good, and these do not, right? Yeah, these are little things. This just look bigger than this one, so the bottom one looks okay. So this one looks the proper scale. These two, let's see how we can fix that. So, all right, I didn't realize. So it appears to be these two over here, right? All right, so I think the best way to fix this is to select them, right? Let me just check again which parts are. Oops. Let me check the other side also. And same thing applies, those things are going to be the same problem with that. All right, so let's see if we can fix that. I think we probably have to remake these two up here, which shouldn't really be that difficult to do. So the easiest way is simply, we're gonna select this, right? And just, let's pick this one here in case, let's isolate those things here, right? These are the 3 shapes that we need, right? So this should be pretty simple, right? We're going to, I'm gonna pick the line tool, right? Let's do F3, right? I'm going to turn my snaps on, and oops, I'm just gonna click the bottom of the shape and just follow the whole outline. Oops. Oops. Sorry, it's hard to see it here. Let me try again. It looks like it's better to click the top one, and then I'll go move it down afterwards. This one should be pretty simple because it's just tracing the outline. And the thing is, I didn't make this model, so this is why this model was part of a package I have of different houses, right? So they're pre-made by a company, and there's a few mistakes in the models when they when I use them. All right, so that's the first one there, top one. This one's pretty simple because we can use a box tool for that. And this one we can, again, use a tracing part. To be safe, I'm just making everything again. Apply materials is the easy part. So this is why I'm taking a little longer here to address any problems that might occur, when you have these things here. All right, so let's start here. So this shape, right? So the best way to do this here is I'm going to start with this one over here, right? Because I know it's going to be, and now I'm going to select, I'm going to make this shape, this one, and this one as a grouping. So I'm going to group it and call it all geometry. So I know that, I'm not making a mistake afterwards. All right, this piece here, I'm going to use simply the, basic box, right? Click on the bottom, drag it out to the bottom, then up, right? I do that first because it will tell me the height of this thing, right? So when I click here, it's called box 65. I know the height to be, 7.087, which is something that's hard. So I'm just gonna copy the height like this, copy. Then I can go to this one here and I know it's the same height. So I click the line, I go here to extrude and change the amount to 7.087, right? So now we have the correct height there and we can just simply move it down, right? That's the second one. The third one, again, we select the line. Let's see here if we can select it. There we go. And it should say the last extrusion. So when I put extrude here, it's already 7.87. So that makes it easier. And just move it down to the correct place there. And right now we're only missing the one here. So this is the one I did the extrusion. So let's just, do it again to make it simple. Again, this is probably much quicker because I can just select here, raise it up, right? Do it again here. Go higher, right? I'm going to move this down a little, turn off my snaps, move this down a bit more. And then we can just select the shape, right? We can do, compound objects, pro Boolean, subtract, and subtract this piece here, right? So now we have this, right? So now I can go back and I can, I can just click here. I did save it as a grouping. So let's see here, where is it? It's a new line. Why isn't it selecting it? Line 02. All right, so it's already, I already pressed delete, so it's already gone. So right now, when I move this here, all I have is pretty much this, right? This one here, I have pretty much only that shape, right? But this is gone. So that means there's some error there. I'm doing Control C. I hope that works. Okay, so it means something. Okay, this part looks pretty good. Okay, that looks good. That's the line. I'm just checking every piece. Okay. All right, so this is the part that I want to delete. This is the old part. Delete that. So now I should have left over only these things here. And the last thing is, now that we made everything different, we could technically apply different materials. So we can make it better. So let's say, again, all I'm doing is taking any material and just copy it over to the side and change the name, right? And I'm gonna call this lower papers, right? Let's make them red. I'm calling for this way here, right? We call this lower papers. And then these four, I'm gonna make them the same, right? Pretty much. And then we copy it again, and we'll call this upper papers, right? And we'll give it a different color. Okay, and just gonna select these things. Apply and apply. Okay, there we go. So now that's pretty much been fixed. Same thing as before. We're gonna select everything. File, export, selected. And it should go back to your last folder. So I'm gonna call it again to Emotion Cliff House, override it. Yes. Okay, and then minimize this. So let's try again to go back to the first tab here. And I'm going to refresh again this model. All right, so now we got colors, which is good. Let's try now to need to adjust my speed here. It's going too slow. All right, let's go here. And let's try again the this kind of cobblestone here. Wow, okay. Doesn't want to do it correctly. Let's try, sometimes let's try a different material. Okay, that material works okay. It could have been just a material thing, you know. That one looks okay. Looks like it's only the cobblestone, the one that's having a little bit of problem with these settings here. Some of the cobblestone. Yeah, let me try something else like a tile. Tiles, okay. Yeah, it looks to be, yeah, definitely much bigger than there. So I'm not sure why that's happening. It appears to be only the ones here. If I go back to this model here, especially this is done correctly, so I'm not sure why. It could be a little glitch, you know, I didn't see this happening last time in the model. So if we go to scale it here, yeah, it looks like it's still a bigger scale than. So in that case, probably the best thing to fix this here, I think, is to make it its own layer. Right now, these are all the same layer. So let's make a new layer here. And we'll call it, I'm gonna call this, we have lower pavers, upper pavers. I'm gonna call this middle pavers. And let's make it. Somehow it needs to be separate. So let's, okay, I'm gonna make this one and this one the same thing, because, all right, so at least now they're independent from the rest. So we have each one in its own layer. Looks like that's the best way to fix this. Same thing again, we'll do file export, export selected, same name, yes, and okay. Let's try again. We go back to the first tab settings here, right model, and refreshes again. All right, so let's try now. We have these 3 layers, right? And let me go to my materials here. We'll apply the same one. Let's try this one here. Oh, let's try something. Excuse me. Let's try this one here. Let's try it again in the bottom. Bottom looks bad, but maybe we can fix it, yes. And that looks okay. So the one here, let's see if we can play with the scale here. We can make it smaller. Nope, wrong one. It is stretched, right? You see that? It's very stretched. So we could go here to more, right? And no, this is not at speed, it's not controlling that. Reflection, weather settings. Yeah, I'm not sure what's wrong here, guys. I'm trying to think about it, but don't know why that's importing and giving. I would say, you know, I would probably try something else there, like different material, just to be safe. It all appears to be stretched.
Professor?
Yeah.
Usually, another thing that I do when this happens is extruding it the other way instead of like up and down, maybe going extruding it horizontally.
Really? You mean in 3D Max?
Yeah, 3D Max or like Rhino. I
Okay.
tried it in Rhino, but
Ah.
I'm not sure if it's the same thing with. So maybe you could try that.
That's a good point. Yes. Let me try. That gave me another idea. Let me try one thing here. Because they gave me, because right now this has, if I click here, you know, we did before extrude here, right? So let me try and select, actually just select these two here, the ones that have a problem here. And I'm going to right click it and convert to editable mesh. I'm gonna explode them. So I just exploded them, right? It's still the same material. Let's try again. File, export selected. Motion. Because that, I think, yeah, that's a good point, Dad. Let's try again. All right, let's do again to settings. No, okay, so in that case, yeah, maybe we'll try also your way. Let me try something else here. The brick looks, doesn't, oh, it is a brick. Let's try, nope, yeah, that's very strange because this is a whole new shape, right? As to why that's not it's its own shape. Its own shape here. So you should try to extrude it in a different way, right? Like in a frontal view, right?
Yeah.
Okay, how would I do that here? So I would have to, okay, let me see. Let me try with this piece over here. I'm gonna move it, I'm gonna do a copy of this thing to the side here. I'm going to rotate this thing 90 degrees like this. Then I'll go to frontal view here. This left view. Let me go to the back view. So this is the panel over here, right? So I'm looking now at the back view. So in the back view, I'm going to you know, draw a line, I guess. Let's go to snaps. Okay, there it is. So now we have it here. I can delete the old piece. We have this piece, right? Now I can select it. We can do extrude. I should keep my last setting, which was a 7 point something. Extrude. There it is 7. Okay, so now it's the correct height. Now that extruded, I can bring it back down here, back to 0. All right, this is I'm gonna call it new. We can now move it, I guess. Snaps. Oh, this piece is not flat. All right, so we have to do a little bit more moving here. Okay, perfect. All right, if it doesn't work, then I'm not sure. We'll skip this part for now, and we'll pick something that will make it look better. So, all right, there we go. I'm gonna delete the other one, and we'll keep this one here. And let's again apply the same material, which is the middle pavers. There we go. All right, let's hope for the best. Export selected. All right, let's try again. That looks like it worked. Yep. Yeah, look at the other one here. Yeah, good call. I guess, and they didn't think of how to, I guess also happens in other programs, right? This fix.
Yeah. Like you have to like mess with it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that would come to my mind, but so I'm not gonna fix it here because it just takes too much time. You know, you guys now know how to fix it, right? yeah, but that's actually, again, I learned something new again. I wouldn't know how else. It does seems like a strange fix, but it works. Okay. I think for here, I'm gonna do some concrete for now, just because it could be more, you know, like this. Has less of a shape, you know. I'll make it smaller here, so it's less obvious, you know, that has like a pattern. And the rest we can do tile like this. All right, perfect. All right, so thank you again for another learning thing that I just figured out. I'll make sure to apply it to my other students. All right, so let's focus now on applying material, right? At this point, because I want to be able today to at least be able to render some things today, so you guys know what settings to use as you guys practice this here. So again, applying materials is pretty simple, right? Let's just start from the outside in, right? So we have already, you know, these things kind of here, right? Let's go here, and this is like a stone wall, so I'm gonna make mine something like concrete. And let's see what we have here. Again, I typically apply, you know, see if I like it. If I don't like it, I try another one. That's like it's not bad, you know, kind of like this. This is like a Tadao Ando concrete, but maybe we'll play with the settings here. Well, the bump, that's fine. Actually, no, let's go back to other ones. Scale, reflection. I want to make it, that looks pretty good. Has 2 lines there. All right, I think that's pretty good. I won't take too much time with that. Let's apply to this piece, because this piece here is the water, right? The pool water, right? So I'm going to, let's go here to the water. And there should be a pool water 1 and 2. Let's try pool water 1, right? Okay, this looks pretty good. It looks dark, so what you can do here is, let's select the pool water here, and let's go back to the layers here, right? You see, I'm just gonna, for now, just shut it off, because there's other things below the water, right? Actually, no, nothing there below the water here. Okay, that looks like I should have made a shape also below the water here. All right, for now, that's. This piece is the pool stone. Okay, that's fine. All right, so somehow. That's 1 second here. I'm gonna click on this shape. I'm going to hide it. Yeah, there's something here. So why isn't that showing up over there? This shape is the pool. Okay. Maybe I applied it to the wrong one. Let's go to pool stone. That's fine. Pool water is there. All right. The good thing is that it's easy to refresh the model, you know. So this piece appears to be, let me isolate this piece for a second. Okay, the problem here is probably, you see how this piece, again, I didn't make this before. This piece has a, what's it lacking, if you guys can see here?
At top.
Not so much the top, but look at the sides, you know, it's lacking a thickness, right? And things that have no thickness tend to go wrong when you go to apply material, because it can decide, you know, which side to apply. So the best way, I guess, to fix is to select it, right? And we can apply here a modifier, right? Go to modifier list, and there's one here called shell. Shell just gives it a thickness to the actual material. So if you go here, shell, right? If I look closely here, right? We have an inner amount and an outer amount. So inner amount is going to the inside. We don't want that. And we have the outer amount is going here. It doesn't really matter how thick it is, because we won't see it, right? But let's say we'll make it, you know, 1 inch, you know. So at least it has a thickness, right? That's the main thing here. Right. That's that. Okay, that's perfect. That's applied, has a thickness. Now, just to be better, I'm gonna right click it and convert to editable mesh. So I'm gonna, you know, kind of confirm the shape, and now it's an actual, you know, geometric shape, right? Let's do isolate. Let me do materials for a second, and I want to just check what it is. So just use the eyedrop tool, click here, and it's called pool tile. Okay, so we have a name for that, which is good. All right, let's do, again, unhide all. Select everything again. Export selected. So at least this part works pretty fast. Okay. And let's try again. I'm going to Yeah, let's try again to refresh it. And I think I see it now. You see there. So now I'm gonna turn off the pool water layer. So I can just click here. Okay, and there's my shape, right? I mean, it looks kind of cool, like that the stone is actually in there, right? So now we can do more precise things. Let's go here now, and let's go to like tile, right? Let's find a cool tile here for the water. This looks like a pool tile, maybe. It's a little bit stretched, but again, being a pool, not gonna worry about, because it's gonna be under the water. So I'm not gonna take it too serious that, might be a little bit messing up the texture. So it's not too bad. This part here is the part that's below the pool, right? So I think this one, I'll make it like a stone, right? Something. That one. Let's try something else. Grounds, man-made ground. All right, that looks fine, like a stone, right? Then we can unhide again the pool water, right? And we have this, right? And then we can really play with this here, right? We can go back to the pool water here, right? Let's see, select it, or let's go back here to the water. And we had a couple of pool water 1, which is that, pool water 2, river water. And again, the color here, you see here, right? This is, we could make it more of a greenish tone, the water here, just to make it nicer like that. We could make, let's try a little more here. Play with the depth. Right now it shows it being 9 feet. All right, we can play with this here. This is the main thing of this height, is it reflects the water ripples that are underneath the water, right? These things here, right? The waves, we can decrease, season on. So for now, that looks like a very nice pool here. And let me keep working here since we're already here in a little more detail, because the idea here was to create a waterfall coming down here, right? So this effect, we don't have it. We do have some waterfalls in Lumion, but the one here is a little better. So let me go here to, we have here objects, lights, materials, tools, objects. City particles. I think it's part of particles. No. We have water jets, which not what I'm looking for. It could be under water here. No. So I'm blanking out where that was stored, that element. Fountains. No. Carrot tools, vehicles. It has to be under objects. It's a particle system, so it should be here. Shower water, waterfall, yes, but they had a different waterfall that was. Unless they took it out. Any of you guys have seen that waterfall?
No.
Okay. Maybe they took it out. Yeah, I used that, last semester. It was a nice looking waterfall effect. This is just a regular water coming down, but this had a little shape to it, like it was cascading, up and down through there. All right, so for now, I'll come back to it. I'll check if it's if it was removed from that side or not. All right, let's keep going here. So this is our trellis, right, that we made before, right? And I said, that we made it into 3 different materials, even though that took longer. Let's see if we go here to apply the material, right? And we can go here to wood, right? We're not gonna use anything this because this is a plank wood, but if we keep going down, it gives us more of a, like this, more of a single veneer piece of wood, right? So if I choose, let's say this one here, we see here that the lines of the wood are going in that right direction, right? Left to right here. If I apply the next one here, And here I'm going to switch my moving to something slower because I'm going too fast. Let's go walking speed. Like this. I'm going to apply the same thing again. So now it's going in the right direction, right? If you apply it with the same thing, then if they were both the same material, it will have to be one or the other. That's going this one, and this one will be going probably in the wrong direction. So it makes it more precise. And this, for the wood, it should go up and down, right? The wood, right? Not to the side. So let's see how that looks. So yeah, it's going up and down like this, so this way we get the right orientation for every piece of wood, right? And that makes, difference in getting, a nice model. At this point, guys, any questions? You guys okay following with these things?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's go. Let's go a little bit more on the bigger elements here. We have this, this big piece here. I think for now I'm just gonna make it concrete. Don't like that one. And this is the best way. Just drag and drop until you find something you like. Poured concrete. What do you guys think? What do you guys like? Oh, that's very nice. That's very much Tadawando. So let's go polish, pour concrete 01 for that one. All right, and you see that on the inside has another area. And again, this thing used to be one model. What I did before for you guys was I took the inner panel and I did explode. This way otherwise, whatever you apply here will be also applied to the inside at the same time. So, you can make the model a bit more precise, and make it look nicer, right? Probably apply the same thing to the one here. So everything continues. And you see the nice thing is it follows the line perfectly, right? And it has the same scale with the material. That looks pretty good here. Up here appears to be a different material. So maybe we'll do something like wood. So we can do, this looks like a wood siding. Looks pretty good for now. And I can, even if you don't like this, you can try, that looks pretty good. I'll keep that. And don't forget, as you apply this, you can always go back here and do this, right? Or you can go back later and use the Eyedrop tool and just click in here and start making the adjustments, reflection, scale, weather on. You can even adjust the color of this wood. If you like this texture here, right? But maybe you want something else, you could play here a little bit here with the color and make it darker or lighter for this, right? For now, I'm just doing things fast so we can start to make something better. Let's see here. We have this red, which is the metal frames. I'm gonna make them just black. There should be a metal and not carbon, but aluminum. There's really no black metal, it looks like here, but we could take any metal here and we can change the color, like this brush aluminum, right? If I apply it here, I can go here to the color and I can make it darker. So we get like a, like a dark aluminum color here. So that looks better. Same thing here with the emollients, right? These things, I could make them, something like a stainless steel, right? Silver. There it is, right? This part here is appears to be a roof deck. So for now, I can just quickly, we can do here, right? And that appears to be a problem with that one. Doesn't work the model. So this, you guys know how to fix it. You just go back to the 2D Max model. It appears to be not taking the shape again. So, all right, let's see here. Again, I didn't make this model, so it looks like the company didn't do a very good job of making these things. This shape nothing looks wrong with it right now. All right, I think you guys know just how to retrace it, extrude it again, and bring it back. I'm not gonna waste time because you guys already know the steps to fix this. For now, I'll leave it like this. On the inside, you know, this object also really has no furniture, right? It's completely blank. This has to be scaled. This, you know, part here. So we have the wood floor here. You know, there's some stairs on the inside here. You know, you can decide to make them whatever you want. They can probably be like a metal, you know, like a steel. You can try bronze. It's all in one layer. So you, if you want, you could subdivide it to different layers and make it a bit more precise. And again, whatever you choose here, we could change the color here. The chrome, which is probably too crazy. That the inner wall here, we can again do something very simple, right? It could be just painted white, right? We have plastics, grids, tiles, fabric, neon, wall coverings. Well, let's try that. Yes, we could do like a wallpaper like that. All right, so the next part, you know, for you guys is pretty simple. Just, you know, apply materials is the easiest part. Just apply them, check the settings here for the scale. But then you have to also bring life to this model, right? Right now, the model is pretty empty, right? So, and we have different choice of things that we can do here. We have the assets here, which are objects, right? And we have also the Quixel mega scans, which are the ideal, better quality ones, which are the professional quality scans, right? But the main difference here between, let's say the assets here and the assets in Lumion is that you have more control over each element, right? So for example here, right, if I go to, let's say a sofa here, right? And let's see where we can put a sofa here. Let's here, this appears to be the living space of this area. So let's say I'll drop here a sofa here. Let's say this one here, right? Put it here. Kind of touching there. Okay. So if this thing was applied in Lumion, right? You know, Lumion decides all the settings of this, right? It decides the color of the sofa, the fabric, and you have no choice to control this, right? Because this works more like 3D Max and you have more control, right? So this sofa that I just added here, we can see it here in the layers, right? It's called the Vixen corner, right? And we have here a little tab that we can go down, right? And this sofa is made up out of all these things, right? We have cushion 1, cushion 2, 3, 4, 5. These are all individual parts, right? You see. So technically, we could selectively decide these things to be different colors, right? I can go here, let's say to fabrics, right? Let's go back to materials here. Let's say materials, and which you have a fabric here, right? And let's say we like this purple, right? I can drag it and make this thing purple, right? I like this, I don't know, carpet wall. I can make this thing red, you know. I can make this thing that, you know, I can make this thing. So you really can have, do whatever you want with this kind of sofa, right? Which is great. I can make a pattern, right? Make it really cool here. And then I can make that pattern have a different scale like this. And then we can have, you know, any color number of pillows that I want, right? Like this. So I think that part is nice, you know, which I really like about Twinmotion, that gives a more variety or more choice for you guys to selectively, you know, create these things here. What do you guys think of these settings here? You find it, you know, it's always good to compare Lumion to Twinmotion, you guys. So what do you guys think right now to comparing these two softwares?
You have more freedom with Twinmotion?
A little bit, right? And yeah, again, these models actually they're quite nice. The models, right? There's a nice, you know, variety of models here that we have. The other models that we have here, the Quixel mega scans, right? So if you go to, let's say, 3D assets, right? Let's go to food, industry, interior, ceiling, decoration, fireplace, railing, furniture. Okay, seating, table. Let's go seating here. Okay, so we have here, we have a sofa. So there might be less of a choice of elements here, right? But again, these are better quality geometry and better materials and better reflections, right, than you know, other things. So things like ceiling, right? You know, these things really don't apply to our model. So some things decoration. This is typically small items, right? Little things, little details for the, the space, right? Building, balcony, you can put a whole balcony there if I want to. A beam, right? So these are, the idea is these things add kind of character to your space, right? Stairs, which could apply, let's see here. Where can I stick a staircase here? Let's see if I go here. Let's say we have a dusty concrete stair. Let's put it, again, first you got to download it here. So let me download it first. There it is. I'm going to drag it here. All right, there's the stair. Let's, you see here where I have this part here, we can rotate here also. And I'm going to rotate it at, say, 90 degrees. Then we can go here. I mean, this is probably not the right space, but we can maybe. There, right? And we have a kind of a staircase that looks like it's been there for a while, right? Kind of old. Something nice detail. This part again is new, so I still haven't gone through this library and checked all of them out. So you guys might want to explore what's here. A lot of stuff, again, these are things that came from, if you guys know Unreal Engine, right? Unreal Engine makes games, right? Makes really nice games that are dealt with, exploring worlds or, very detailed interior environments. So these things all came from those games, right? So, things like debris, right? Like this, right? Things like bones, right? Or I don't know, mushrooms, right? They're little details that are used in games, right? To give it that life or, that ambience. And now they just, they were, because the company was also bought out by Unreal Engine, then those things are now part of Twinmotion, right? And you can use them for, little, if you have like, if you're making like a very detailed model of just, let's say, a bedroom, right? And only that bedroom, and you want to have every single detail there, a cup holder, maybe a watch by the nightstand, a phone there. This thing has all those details to really give you the most quality, right? So here we have, branch. We don't really have like trees, but we have details of elements, right? Like, if you like this thing, you can download it. So it's good for doing very, it's not really good for doing big scenes. It's more for control scenes of individual rooms where you guys can apply, these things, right? Decals is a nice thing that we have, decals are things that we could apply to the to walls, right? Like here, right? This is a, decals of cracks, right? So let's say if I go here, this concrete looks really, really clean, right? And very nice, which in a way, if it's too clean, it looks fake, right? So we have here, let's say like a crack here, like concrete crack. Let me just download. Okay, and now we can take this and drop it here, right? Right, we go close here. Okay, where is it? Doesn't seem to do it nicely. Again, I haven't experimented with these things yet, so not sure why that one looks like that, but for now, let's take it out. There's other ones here that, that are not part of the mega scans. If you go here just to objects here, we have doors, sounds, particles here, decals, right? Also, right? These decals, are good for roads, potholes, vents. Let's say, right now there should be a vent here, and we can take one of these things here and put a vent right there, right? Again, gives a bit more realism to the building that there's, some type of vents there. We could take, if you're an artist, there's a bunch of different decals here. Let's say we got, I don't know, this thing here looks like some Japanese writing. We can put it there, right? Like this. We can put it like this. Right, and there's the decal in my building, right? We can take, floor decorations, art like this, and we can stick it throughout the building here. These things here, llama. Also, this thing's good, for rain. You can make potholes for water. And also here, you can also use it to make dirt, right? So if I take like this part here, right, and I apply it here, right, because you want this building to look like it's been here for some time. If I apply this like this, right, obviously this looks a little bit dark, right? Should be able to, yes. So yeah, it creates the idea of kind of mold growing here, right? There's other ones here like cracks, right? We could apply this maybe down here, right? To make it look like this is, and this is how we start to build character to the building, because it's very easy to make everything look clean, right? And perfect and brand new. The hard thing is to make it look old, you know, and have some age to it, right? So this becomes useful like this, you know, and you know how dirt gathers, you know, I mean, the bottom here, something like this starts to happen, right? Like this. And then this concrete here, right? So you start to add little things here. You can always click here, the Eyedrop tool, click on the concrete, right? Weather is on, which is good for the concrete, right? Yeah, those things are fine. You can always select that. So you guys see kind of the differences, you know, how we add character to the model is to get it more realistic, right? Imagine like shaping, you know, imagine like in a way you are building here your own game, right? So think about the experience that you want to have when you play this game, right? And if the experience is that everything is clean and it's going to look pretty fake, right? You know, when you walk down the street, right, you see things on the floor, you know, dirt, you know, over the years, you know, there's mold, there's, you know, concrete has cracks. So that's what makes something appear more realistic, right? By showing the age of time, you know, as things that, you know, start to fall apart and, you know, have some age to it. So that's really what makes something look realistic, right? All right, guys, it's 10 o'clock. You know, I don't want to give you guys a break. So let's come back around like 10, 12, and we'll continue some of these details here. All right, guys.
All right, thank you.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Get back soon. All right, guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
All right, good. Guys, so today I'll try to do a little bit lecturing today, you know, so a much longer video. Typically, you know, I will start pretty soon, but as I mentioned, next week, I have a family matter overseas. So I need to, if you guys know, I'm from Costa Rica, so I have to go to Costa Rica for a few days. And it happens to be, you know, during this class. So I'll try to copy today. I'll try to today to give more detail in the video so you have more time to look at it, you know, and, you know, little by little. So you can, so you guys are not really falling behind in the class. So this way it'll be all recorded today. Okay, let's see here. All right, so I think what I was discussing before I left here was the idea that it's very easy to make a model that looks clean, right? And it's probably, and many times that happens all the time, but it's very hard to give the model some character, right? And character requires these little, you know, details, right? You know, things like dirt, cracks, you know, things like vents, you know, these things are pretty important here. And we have, you know, obviously, you know, different things we could add here, you know, throughout the, you know, the model here. You know, if you're taking a shot here, you know, there might be a vent down here, right? And you can kind of, you know, step back, you know, and kind of see how these things could be used, right? Road signs. So there's plenty of stuff here that you could use, you know, leaves. You can even fake, you know, shadows here, which is kind of interesting, right? And there's, you know, other types of signs you can put here, right? Different types of dirt, you know, this is like rust. You know, there are things like, and this happened, and you can kind of see where the lines happen. So you can kind of align them to you know, things like this. You have like this type, this typically happens, you know, I would say here where you have more plants. So I might put it here by those plants. Other ones are more light, right? Like this one here. That one doesn't appear to be working. Okay. So again, you can just go to this, you know, find different things to use here, you know, like the cracks here, and just put them throughout the space here. Also, other things that we had, you know, in Lumion was that in Lumion, I guess the good thing about Lumion is you could take any shape and you can make ivy grow in that shape, you know, like a plant, right? You don't really have that here, unfortunately. So there's no ivy setting for, they do have ivy and such things here, but there's not really a setting for that. Okay, one second right now. Let me save it. Uh-oh. Control save. Again, this program, you know, it does crash once in a while. Right now it's acting a little glitchy. 1 second. See, I can back up here from decal and I can't select anything here. So if this ever happens to you, like, you know, it happens once in a while, like I can move through the space here, but I can't select, I can select things here, which looks fine. I can select water. But you see here, I can't go back to my other things here. What I do here is simply just save the file, right? To control save like this, and just reopen it again. I don't know why this happens once in a while. Like some of the features become, let me do file, open reset, open this one again. This is the, no, so the thing we show here, this should be 1124, okay, here. So that's not working also. All right, so in that case, I'm gonna close it down for a second and I'm going to restart it again. This happened to you guys ever with Twinmotion yet? Or some of the commands stop working?
No, not for me.
No,
Okay.
not yet.
All right, it'll happen eventually. All right, this is pretty. You see here when I load this, if you see, okay, there we go. Let's try again. File. There's nothing major, you know, typically it all goes back to normal here when you go back here. So everything looks good. We have, you know, the dirt's still there. So, and we can select things here again, right? All right, so perfect. So that's going back to that. So I was saying that, you know, there's really is no ivy here, right? So, you know, if we go here to bushes, there's a bunch of other things here, you know, little plants here, and we can always add those in detail throughout the space. Grass and flowers, we have the basic, you know, simple grass and flowers there. Detail rocks, miscellaneous. So here's where you have it, you know, miscellaneous you have here like this, right? A bunch of different ivy, but they can't really, you can't make them grow. This, you simply just add them wherever you think they might be growing, right? So let's say if we go here, if we take, let's say, this ivy here, it's simply, you know, you're just gonna just drop it there, right? You might put another one here if you want, you know, and it started to create like a pattern, you know, of these things as you go through here, right? So you can apply different ones there and, you know, like this until you're happy, you know, with the way this is growing here. And they give you enough varieties so that you can kind of make, you know, different ones through here, right? Like this. And you can always go around, you know, and kind of place these things where you think they might be growing here. So that's another nice detail to have, is to add some of these ivy here. And again, this is just more like a little piece there of ivy, not really much there. So you can do like large, you know, hedges here. So, you know, we can do some detail here and start to fine tune what we have here. Drop like a, you know, like a tree trunk there. Like another, you know, something to give it more detail here of things happening, you know, maybe some dead branches. Just to give it some character, right? So now we have, you know, here, you know, a nice, you know, dead tree, the staircase going up here. So you kind of start to tell the story, right, of what you want to experience in this space, right? And same thing inside, you know, eventually you can put inside also things like furniture, right? Let's see. I do want to cover today also lighting, so maybe I'll switch to that fairly soon. The rest is, you know, just, you know, go into the library here, you know, and check in what they have, you know, and try to build this character for the space, you know, inside and also outside. Obviously, if this is becomes a pool here, right, then you want to make it feel like a pool, right? So you might go here to objects, right, and see what you can find here. Let's say home, living room, bathroom, office, gym, street workout. This is new, right? This wasn't here last time. We have street workout stuff. City, so in city, fountains, trash signs, advertisements, street lights, no. Construction, benches, okay, benches maybe. I saw somebody use this bench before in the class. It's pretty good, you know, it's a bit large for down here, but we can do other things to look kind of to match the house, right? This is also a pretty large bench. You can put those things throughout the space here, right? Just to give it some sense of life here. Planters, those are good. You know, planters always make a house look more, you know, real. You can put them throughout here, right? But that one looks really, really big. If the scale is off, you know, you can select it, right? You see here, right? When we have the move element, I can click here. And we have here the rotate, and we have the scale, right? If I click on scale, I click in the middle, and we can just reduce the scale to whatever we want. We can always go back here afterwards and, you know, move it here in place. So consider using some of those things, right? Because those are always nice detailed. Let's see, fountains, planters, trash cans, decals, particles. I mean, there's less stuff, let's say, than Lumion, but you can always bring your own models afterwards here, right? So there's really no space here. There's nothing here for like street, I guess for outdoor, like outdoor furniture. So you will have to go to city and probably use something from here, you know, I guess from benches. And maybe this one here, we'll put it here. We'll select this, rotate it. And kind of put it like that. And start to add also things there. We could also add, you know, things like people, right? And they do have people that are swimming, I believe. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just confusing with Lumion. Oh, there we go. So we have people kind of, you know, by the beach, right? And again, these are good for far away shots. There's no one really swimming in the pool, which is fine. So guys, tell me, what else do you think will make a model appear more realistic, right? I want to hear your feedback here, right? I'm applying here some stuff, but what do you guys think make models appear good? You know, what details, for example? Come on, guys.
The play of shadows will be one.
The play of shadows?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, that's definitely important, yes. The play of shadows, right? What else?
Artificial lighting.
Yes, artificial lighting, yes. In what sense does that play a part?
Kind of like what student said about the shadows, but especially like at night, it gives it more realism. And
That's true, yes. And I hit the number 4 on my keyboard and this happened. So I haven't hit that button before. Let me see what I did here. What happened here? Yeah. Did I switch to one of those modes? No. Okay, I'm on top view here. Okay. Okay, we are top view. This is side view, left view. Okay. Custom view. Okay, that's fine. Okay. That's fine. Okay. Full view. Views. Okay, VR view. Okay, then back to perspective view, but am I under or above the landscape? Sorry, guys, I think I messed up my model here. Where am I here? Okay, there we are. So I guess don't hit number 4. I don't know what that exactly, I haven't done it before. Number 4 kind of took me completely somewhere else in my space here. And I'm going to switch my speed now to a little lower. All right, so let me switch a little bit topics here, right? So, definitely you guys can continue here and, apply materials to this, right? You can, select materials. You can think about adding decals to give it a sense of realism by adding things like vents or dirt. You can add furniture to give it life, right, to the space, right? Not to put too much, but, enough so that you can imagine somebody actually living in this space, right? And you can always try to make the building somehow be integrated with the landscape, right? So it looks like it's part of the whole site, right? So once you have something that is more detailed, again, like before, we have to start to record our model, right? And record the things that we're doing, right? So let's go back here to this tab here. It looks like the play button, right? Called media, right? So this is where we start to record our experience here, right? And we can record an image, right? A panorama, which is a 360 image, a video facing. That's really not used too much, but we can talk about it, in the next, eventually. And we have, a mode for presentation, right? So the first tab here is image, right? So pretty much, we just click here, right? And we start to create an image, right? And the idea is to, we create depending on what we see here. So let's say my first shot is going to be, let's see here. I'm going to take a few shots here. Let's say, and always try to take the shots that, imagine somebody being here, right? So let's say in this case, maybe somebody's on a boat in the lake right here. Let's say this is my first shot over here like this. So just create here. There's no, camera sound like Lumion just takes a shot over here, right? And there's my first shot, right? For now, let me take a few things around here. So let's go here. Maybe something around here could be a cool shot. Second, and again, later we can adjust the lens, right? And for now, I'm just trying to figure out the rough areas that I want to try to capture in my scene here. Maybe something here under the trellis, right? Looking back there. Let's see here, maybe something above here. And I'm moving way too fast, sorry. This could be a good shot here. This is downstairs. That's looking there, let's see. Yeah, something by the couch here. This is a good shot. Again, probably needs more detail, but it gives you a nice view of what's happening here, right? I think it's better from here. So this is something like this, right? Looking across this part here. And let me do just one more shot somewhere here. I'm gonna go higher here. This is a good shot looking, across the whole landscape, right, that we have here. Not showing so much the architecture, but I'll do one from the mountain here. This could be a cool shot because this is how you approach this house here, like this. You see kind of the built-in area here. You can imagine walking to this space like this. This could be a cool shot. All right, so let's say that I have these 5 shots now, right? Again, they're not refined yet. They're just my very sample, very simple shots, Once you have this, whatever shots you want to have here, the next phase is try to refine those shots to make them look better, right? So let's start with the first one here. And right now it's called image 1, image 2. You could go here to more, sorry, not that one. So you can go here to, on top here, you can rename, right, this shot. So you can delete them or make a duplicate, right? So for now, I'll leave it as image 1, but let's start with this one. Let's start, here. And you see we have more right here, right? First of all, up here, you also have the refresh tool. If you decide to make a slight change here to the camera, you can do refresh and we'll take a new shot, right? Then here, the key things here are in more, right? Because there's a lot of stuff in more, right? You see more, we have renderer, right? Right now we're working with the real-time rendering engine, but here we could select to be path tracing, right? If I click this on, this is like that R button that we have on the keyboard. If I put this on, see what happens, right? It starts to ray trace, and this will give you the best results. It just takes time, right? And once you have that, you can define here the quality of the ray tracing, right? The more you have in pixels, the better it is. But right now we're at the lowest setting. We can make 1,000 pixels. We can make more light bounce. That's all good, but I think that's just gonna take a very, very long time. So for now, we're not gonna use path tracing at all. We're gonna keep that off, and we're gonna use just the default settings that we have in Twinmotion for a real-time rendering engine, right? So that part we can just ignore, right? The part that we want to have for sure is GI should always be on. GI is global illumination, right? And the shadows you define, you see here, we have some shadows here, right? If I play with this here, we can make it more kind of blurry like this, right? Or we can make it more defined. So there's no correct number here. The idea, just move the bar up and down until you get the results that you kind of like, right? You have kind of the shadows there, right? All right, let me go back here to image 1, right? Then we have lighting, right? So lighting, we can do a lot, a lot more, and then still more settings still afterwards here, right? We can do the exposure of the camera, right? We can make it brighter or darker like this, overexpose it. We can underexpose it like this, right? These settings like that. We can adjust the white balance, right? So if it's not, we can make it more blue, right? We can make it more orange, right? Depending on the scene. The idea is to make it more of a natural light. There's no perfect setting. It's just whatever your eye feels is correct, right? As to looking more, realistic here. The sun intensity, again, we can make the sunlight brighter, right? Like this. Moon applies to, we're doing, obviously a night rendering, and the ambient light is the light, that is just kind of glowing, right? So the more ambient light we have, the less our shadows are seen in our scene, right? The less light we have, the more shadows will become darker, right? And more defined. So it's good, you want to have some shadows, but don't have things too bright. So you can play with this setting here to get a nice balance of light and shadow. Sky dome is on. That's what we have over here, right? And there's still another more setting here where we could change the sky dome for the, again, these are all individual scenes, right? So we can have a different sky dome for every shot that we have, just in a way like Lumion, right? And here we can again increase the sky dome intensity, right? We can make it brighter. We can rotate it here for this shot, so we can see the clouds here, and we can play to get better shadows, right? Because maybe as your shots change, your shadows also maybe need to change to make it look better, right? So we can play with this here. And again, you don't want the building to look like this because the building is completely flat. It has no shadows and it looks very boring. So you want to move this here to make the building appear three-dimensional, right? So just kind of play with this until you find a good setting you like. You have nice shadows for the trees and nice shadows for the building also, right? This you should always keep it on, right? Intensity is just the intensity of the sky dome here, right? It gets a little brighter. If we turn the sky dome off, then we have no sky, right? And of course, we have no ambient light, right? So we can play with those settings. We can go back here. Also, the sun intensity has the exposure also has a more tab. It just means, of course, you want to have the auto exposure on always. I never see a need for having it off. And this is just, again, you can fine tune the exposure of the scene here. Sun intensity, there's also a more setting here. You can change the sun angle. It doesn't really do much. And there's some reflective quality here, which things that you really cannot perceive here, right? And they do it's something so small that I never see a need to change those settings at all, right? Moonlights, we're not going to modify, but we can make it intense if we ever use the moonlight, right? Let's see here. Lighting, okay, so that's lighting, right? We have location, right? Again, these are all things that apply individually to each shot that we have, right? So location, we could, change for this particular shot. Maybe I'll change the time of day, right? Maybe it becomes 12 a.m., right? 12 p.m., right? And you see how it's still bright? It's because we're using the sky dome, right? The sky dome is only one setting. If you want to make it night, we're gonna have to switch the sky dome to a night setting. So even though we move this here to 12 a.m. or 12 p.m., there's really no difference in the shot here because we're going for a night because we're using the sky dome, and in this case our sky dome is a daytime sky, right? So nothing we can do there with those settings there. Weather is good because we can start to adjust here. Rain, right? And definitely try rendering these things, right? We can try that season. So this is cool, to see, how things change. And again, depending on the trees, they will change color to, to yellow or red, depending on these settings here. Also, you can play here with the growth. You can make the trees grow more, which in this shot, I think it looks nice. We have a nice lush trees and we hide more of the background. Maybe somewhere, maybe in a different shot, you want to have less trees, but the good thing is all here through, image 1, right? More, and we have here alter weather. You find here the growth of the trees, right? Which is nice because it applies to all the trees. Let's go back to here. Then we have camera. This is important because here we define a lot of things for the camera. The first thing is the camera lens, right? Right now our lens is 40, right? We can go closer. So this is the one we start to fine tune our shot, right? Well, how much do I want to see, right? Very close by, definitely some of the water, some of the landscape could be nice. I wouldn't use depth of field, this doesn't work really that well. Also don't use parallelism. Sorry, I can't say that word. Vignetting, it's a detail that you guys can use. It works good, to create a darker sense along the edges, and it does bring more focus to your shot. So I might use a little bit of vignetting. Lens flare only works if the sun is completely in your face here, like pointing to the camera. Otherwise, you won't see it, right? And then we have visual effects, and again, we're trying to make it look realistic. So I'm not really going to apply any effects, like clay or color gradient or, photo filters, because, we have tons of things, I'm not going for this look, here, but it is there, in case you want to use it. Same thing with the other ones here, the ones that are color gradients. These are, again, effects that you will find typically things like Instagram, right? Or just to give it a, they're actually nice if you're trying to go for like an autumn feel, right? Or maybe a winter feel. In winter, the colors are more vibrant, right? Like the blues. So I think that looks actually nice. It gives a very nice autumn feel and makes a very blue sky, because typically in autumn, the sky is bluer because the air tends to be a little cleaner and the trees are very bright colors, right? So I guess you could use, and then here we can, of course, if you think the sky is too blue, then we can play here with the saturation here. We can make it more, we can make it less, right? And we can just fine tune those settings a little bit there. So there's a lot of things you can do. That's why it kind of gets a little bit confusing, because you can modify a lot of things, right? Scene state, this we're not gonna, for now, we're gonna skip that. And let's say this is for this shot over here, right? So let's go back to the next shot. Let's go to image. Let's say that for this shot over here, right? Let's go here to more. Let's start with the camera so we get a better angle. I want to see more, like this is a cool shot. But maybe this shot, I want it to be evening, right? Not really a daytime. So for that, we have to change what? What would I change for this shot to make it evening? You guys tell me.
Can you repeat that, please?
So for this shot over here, right? This is our second shot. Right now, it's daytime. If I want to change the night or evening, what would I change in these settings over here that we have on the bottom? We have 6 different things we can modify for this shot.
I think you would first change the sky dome to a night.
Yeah, so where would that be? Lighting, location, weather?
What is lighting?
Yeah, so we go here, lighting, right? Sky dome, right? So right now that's off, the sky dome, right? We turn it on again, more, empty, so we can select here. Let's see here. Open. We're not there. Oops. Okay. Why is it showing empty? We might have to change it on the other view. Interesting. Open, refresh, go to library. All right, for now, let's do it a different way. I don't know why this is showing empty. For now, for this scene, because I want to make it a night scene, right? Let's just turn off the sky dome for a second here, right? So now we go back to this, right? So now we can go to, let's go back to image, right? We can go to location, right? And here we can play with the time of day, right? Like this, right? We can, so right now, let's say this would be a nice evening shot. It's about 6 a.m., right? So a morning shot. And then we can play also with the north offset, right? So we can get the shadows here. And obviously the sky, the sun is very low. So having some nice shadows like this could be great for our scene, like having like this, all these things happening here. So it's just a matter of playing with this until you find something that you like that. Let's say, for example, we can also play with the month, right? Because the sun angle will change, right? So July seems to be a great shot. It has, nice and bright. It still looks like an evening. We can maybe change the light here, maybe like this. Let's try 5 a.m., 5:50 a.m. So that looks like a nice shot to me. That looks like a, sometime in the evening, maybe in the morning. But we have, low light, great shadow projection right through the scene, right? And once we have this, we can go again through everything, right? We can go with the lighting, location, weather, cameras. We can adjust those settings as we go here, right? Then we can go back to, let's say, the next image, right? So this is daytime view, right? We have a nice evening view. Let me do the outside here. So this one here, let's go to more. Again, I'll start typically with the camera so we get a better sense of what lens should I use so we can see the whole scene. So I do want to see kind of some of the landscape that is, we spend a lot of time working in the landscape. And then once I have the, what am I going for, right? Again, this shot, maybe let's try, like a night shot here. So let's go back here. We go back to lighting, right? I'm going to turn the sky dome off for this shot, then go back to location, right? And let's do, again, right now our building has no light, so I won't make it completely dark yet. But again, we can play here with these settings here. Let's say 7 a.m. We can play with a month and try to get some cool shadows here, right? Also look how the shadows affect the space here, the mountains in the background. So this part, it's kind of fun, to play with this, and adjust all those settings to try to capture this, right? The last part here, that one called format right here. Format's important because format defines the size of your image, right? So right now it's full HD, right? And again, there's less choice. Well, there's two default settings, right? And then of course a custom setting, right? So the default setting is 2K 1920 by 1080, and then we have 4K, right? Which is 380/40 and 2001, 160 by. So it is a nice 4K image. Even the lowest quality side image is pretty good, right? So full HD is so I would say you guys can do everything full HD, right? No need to go to a custom size unless your computer is struggling a lot, and you have to go to a much smaller size, rendering. More here is where you can specify, the width and the height of the image, but I think stick with 1920 by 1080 for an image size. That's pretty good. All right. How are you guys doing? Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. All right. Before the class ends, we have, let me take 10 more minutes here for one thing here. See, this actually looks really nice here, with the shadows like that, right? Starts to look pretty realistic here. All right, let me go back here. And first of all, let's make it, let's go up here, right? Let's go to the sun here, and I'm gonna, so we can't there because we're using the sky dome, right? So let's go up here, right? We have the sky dome, right? Let me go for noon, low sun, morning, afternoon, noon, I guess, cloudy, and something. Overcast, low sun. Okay, here we go. Low sun gives me a nice kind of a, I'm not going for a truly night scene, but this gives me a nice, I guess, first download it. And the good thing is the lights here are pretty much the same as Lumion. So there's really not that much more to learn about the lighting. It's pretty much the same details here. So it shouldn't really be difficult for you guys to see it. All right, there it is. Drop it. There we go. So the light change, nicely. We can play with the intensity, rotation of this. So we get more of the effect here. This, if we turn the sky dome effects off, right, we can see that we have less lighting, right? We can reduce the intensity here also of the sky dome. So it looks a little bit darker, right? All right, let's go here for a little bit here. We're almost done. All right. Let's go here to the lights right here. So we have lights over here, right? And the thing is the same thing as Lumia. Right? We have the, Omni light, which is a glowing sphere. We have some spotlights, right? And these are called, again, same as 3D Max. They're called Ies Lights, right? And we have neon lights, right? We kind of looked at those briefly before, right? I think when we're doing the pavilion space, right? But again, with this light, simply, let's say we choose something like this, like number 8, right? I drag it, I drop it here, for example, there. There's the light, right? We have, again, all the settings down here, right? And we can see by the light, first of all, we have the light on or off, right? That's easy. We can go more, right? This is just to go to the actual IS file. There's no need to go to that file, so we can just leave it on. We have the intensity of the light. And the lights do look a lot better here than Lumion. We can play with the intensity. We have the, again, this is the Kelvin reading. So we can make the light lower to make it more hot, we can go higher to make it more blue, more white, and we can adjust the Kelvin. Typically, something in the 3000 is good because it's a nice soft light and it's very warm. We can adjust. We see this kind of orange line here. That's the angle of the light, so we can focus it more down, right? Or we can let the light glow a bit more in the scene. We have the light attenuation, which means how far the light can spread out. Right now, pretty much says after 11 feet, there's pretty much no more light, right? If we increase the light here, we have that bit more. And if you increase too much, it means the light is going to go past walls. So you don't want to have it too low, right? That means the light doesn't really go past 1.6 feet, right? You can control this and define at what point the light stops. Shadows right now are off. So you want to keep them always on to make it more detailed. And haze is this, right? Haze makes the lights glow more, right? Imagine it's a little bit foggy outside. And when the lights are on, it makes the light give more of a volume shape, right? So haze, I don't always use, maybe more if you're going for like a night scene with like a foggy effect that could be used, right? The next thing here, you see also when I move my camera, right? You see there's also light rays, right? Can you guys see this through here, right? Can you guys see it in your scene, right? Yeah. All right, I'm gonna lower the intensity a little bit more here. And then the copying part is different. In Lumion, we copy through Alt, and in Twinmotion, we copy the same way as 3D Max, right? Which means if I want to copy this light, I hold down the Shift key. So hold down the Shift key, pick it, and drag it. And this is good because now this we can't do in Lumion. So remember, like 3D Max, right? We can copy as a copy, and we can copy as an instance. That means that an instance is that they're all controlled by the same controls, right? So let's say that I want to have 3 more lights right here, and I want the spacing of the lights to be, they're spaced, let's say at I don't know, 3 feet apart, right? Like this. So we do okay. There's my 4 lights. They're all spaced equally the same spacing, right? And if I go here and I change the intensity of the lights, it's all at the same time, right? Which is much, much nicer than before, right? These lights, again, they can be applied on the ceiling. They can be on the floor, pointing up, there's spotlights. You put them wherever you think will make the building appear more, interesting, right? These are coming down. You could have some lights maybe, here pointing up to the scene to create some nice shadows, right? So there's plenty of Ies lights here, 30 lights. We have the, again, neon lights, which could be done for like an ambient light, right? And if you want to make the light appear a little bit more realistic, right? You see that there's nothing really here. There's no really light source, right? It's simply just a light. So, if you look at this, it will look kind of fake, right? Because there's nothing to emit light. So you could first try to add an object to the light, right? If you go to, and maybe nothing there, but sometimes you can find something here: benches, planters, signs, street lights. They have a few lights here, but nothing for the floor that I can use. You can always import other things from other places, you know, even from 3D Max to create, if you want to create your own light. Don't see anything there. Kitchen, bedroom, office, gym. So yeah, nothing really for lights here that we can use here. All right, for now, we can put them there, yes. And again, you can put them on the house, you know, they can, you see this model already has a space for lights over here, right? So what we can do here actually is we can do a few things, right? First, we have this light bulb right here. So let's say we go here and we take a light source here. So this light bulb is an actual material, right? And if you go here to library, right, to materials, go all the way down here, right? There is a neon material here, right? They're glowing. So I can take this neon material and I can apply it to this bulb, right? And now, again, this is not a strong light like the one in 3D Max. It's just there to give the effect of a glowing element, right? So I could use any of these lights to apply to those spheres to make it look like they're glowing, right? And they're on at night, right? And then the final touch here is simply to, this follows the same idea as 3D Max, is to go back here to lights, right? And find one of the lights, let's say we do, I don't know, this one here, and just put it right there, right? So I'm gonna put it here first, right? And then I'm going to, oops, escape. And kind of place it right in the middle, like that, right, where it should be, right? And we can see the light source coming down, right? Now we can play with the angle. We can play with the intensity. This, right? With shadow should be on, right? Shadow gives you a more defined light. And now we could copy this light, let's say here, right? We can go here and just hold down the shift key. Put one there. Make sure it's instance. Do it again. Now we have these three lights on the outside, right, pointing down, and we can control all of them at the same time, right? We can make it very bright, you know, reduce the intensity. Shadow should be on, lights. So here, this really refreshes. So we go to open. It just goes to some random file here. So not that you guys need to modify that part there at all. All right, and the last thing here, the last thing we'll finish here is, you know, once you have these things played out, we already have here, we'll cover those later. This is kind of a simpler part. Right here, we have the image, right? We have right now 5 different images, right, in our scene, right? If I go here now to the export part, right, I want to export those 5 images, right, to make the final rendering. You see here on the image, it's kind of empty, right? So we just select here and we say, I want to export this one, this one, this one, you know, these 5 that I have, right? Select all, right? Then we can just, you know, go here to start export, right? There is more again here. There's a lot of things, you know, we're not doing a 3D mode. Refinement, this is good, you know, it just, it does add more time to the rendering time, but refinement, it creates a much better quality image, right? Especially the lighting, those things. Max light, I would turn on. It does create for better lighting in the space. And this refinement, you know, depending on your computer, you know, you can make it low, medium, or high, right, for the quality. And then once you're done with that, pretty much the last thing is here. So make sure that everything here is selected, right? We have all of them being selected. Last thing is start export here, right? And of course, we'll pick a folder, right? Let's say we do it here. And let's say we'll put it here, for example. Let me select say there, rendering. I'll pick this folder. And that's it, you know, and this is gonna say, it'll give you an estimated time for finishing these renderings, right? So, I mean, the rendering part is easy. That the hardest part is going through all those settings of the exposure control, size of lens, time of day, shadow refinement, to get the best possible quality, renderings that you have here. And we can still do more, but I think this is good for today's class. Yeah, I kind of crammed here a bit more stuff than I would typically do in a class. But that's because, again, next week, guys, we're not meeting. I have a family matter to attend to. So I'll see you guys again on, let's see, on the 15th, right? And this video, I kind of crammed two topics into one video. So this will give you enough time to work, until the next class, right? So definitely practice with these things, and start taking those renderings, and see, what all those settings do.
All right, thank you, Professor.
Thank you, guys. Any comments or questions?
No, right now, definitely.
Okay, I'll post the video today, but make sure that, in case you let me know, right, that if I didn't post it by today.
All right.
Guys, last thing, in the attendance sheet, I know there are a few people absent. Anybody come to class late today?
Yeah, I did, Josue.
One sec, let me just mark it down. Just wait. Okay, anyone else?
You hear me? Renika?
I'm sorry?
You hear me? I know I can hear you.
Drenika, right? Okay, so I'll mark you down. Okay, you came in. Okay. Anyone else? No? All right, guys. So hopefully, you enjoyed today's lecture, and again, practice. This is something that's fun. If you like playing games, and it's you can build your own stuff. So it's kind of it's not really boring. I think these things. All right, guys. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys in the next class.
Professor.
All right, guys. Take care.
Pleasure.
All right, take care,
Bye.
Professor.
Thank you.
Thank you.